So just a little story on the wine. Obviously, you know, we're growing 11 red grape varietals on the property, and Kevin spoke about terroir and how unique it is. So we are trying to get that terroir all into one bottle and working on a blend. Cabernet is the master of the blend. Currently it's around 45% in the current vintage. We've got 8 varietals in it, but year after year the varietals change and the percentages change based on what grows well in that year. Okay, so we have, technically would call them like the top 4. It's Cabernet, Shiraz second, Merlot, Cabernet Franc are 4 that generally do very well and hold the most percentages in the wine. So in 2004 we produced the wine for the first time, waiting 6 years, about 6 years, for vineyards to mature enough to produce wine of the quality, but also for us to understand our terroir as well as those vines before producing the wine of the standard we were looking to produce. In 2007 we released it. Kevin actually took it as an unlabeled bottle of wine to a few wine journalists. He wanted to get an opinion on the wine. No one knew where it was from, how it was made, what style of wine it was. And he actually had an American journalist come up to him and say, if you sell this wine for anything less than $100, you're going to waste your own time and his. So at the point in time, dollar to rand was 6 rand 25. The bottle retailed for the first time in South Africa at 625 rand to the dollar. Price has never been the selling point in the wine, never the main focal point. Like Kevin said, we haven't made the best wine in South Africa yet, and we are striving to do that, and this is pretty much what we're aiming to do through our gem. For me, very unique, the flavors coming through. I mean, you do get blends like this around the world, but blends of this sort of varietals, not always. Mixture of French, Italian and Spanish grapes in most of the years, based around Cabernet. Complexity around the wine and those different elements that you pick up. It's a little bit like going to the same place and smelling and seeing something new every time you get a flavor, every time you get a taste, sorry. And then when you taste that wine, just notice that long-lasting finish that you feel on it. But enjoy, guys. You have 25-year plus aging potential.
So this will change. It could change next year. It'll be completely different varietals you might use.
It's funny enough, from bottle to bottle you might pick up different elements in the wine. The wine does sort of go through stages which hopefully isn't be seen as inconsistency in the wine, but some days the palate just picks up more of the green peppers. You might pick up more of an earthier flavor the next day, more of those dark fruits, but the one thing is those flavors do seem to go around and around, so it's not necessarily an inconsistency, it's just that palate in different times that you find in that one.
So really, it's a bit of fun, but also it's a great success.
It's very serious still at the same time.
So what's the Cab, Franc, Shiraz?
So Cabernet Sauvignon, Shiraz, Merlot, Cabernet Franc, and then I can give you a full list at the bottom, just because the blend has recently changed from 11.
Secret.
Oh, it's not a secret at all. It's in the box. Everything, all the exact percentage.
And who blends, Justin?
The important people. So what they'll do is they'll work on the blend together. Mark will come up essentially with 4 or 5 different blends. They do a tasting on that blend, and then that will then be decided on what the gem will be in that year. But it will be select blocks that will be used to blend. Like, you know, that Shiraz block we drove past with the coffee clip, the coffee stone, that is usually going to be the Shiraz we use for the gem.
So how much are you producing of this at the moment?
Previous vintage was 15,000 bottles. Current vintage in 2012 was only 9,000 bottles. The aim is to get it up to about 25,000 bottles. Unlike the rest of the world, premium wines in South Africa seem to be produced exclusively, which plays into your favor. It's a lot easier to produce something in a smaller quantity than in a greater quantity. So we're trying to produce something fantastic, as well as putting our production quite high as well.